Okay, welcome, my friend. I am excited to have you here in this Conquer the Chaos course. This has been something I've been looking forward to for a long time because the book Conquer the Chaos really encapsulates the last 2 decades plus of work I've done with entrepreneurs to help them achieve their goals and avoid the pitfalls and the drawbacks that sometimes go along with entrepreneurship. So, as you know, Conquer the Chaos is all about that challenge that confronts entrepreneurs, business owners, and their teams when they are trying to grow their business and they're dealing with chaos. And we're going to talk today about what that is briefly. We're going to talk about what the solution to that is. And then we're going to kick off the modules of this course that will help you to practice the principles in Conquer the Chaos, the 6 keys to success for entrepreneurs. So I'm really excited to be with you. This is going to be a ton of fun. The first thing I want to do here is set the stage for this course. So why did I write the book and why does this course matter? What's the whole point here? It's this, that whether you are failing or you are succeeding in your business, too often the overall success we want in business and life, they're not working well together. Now, a lot of times we're focused on the failures in the business, but it's also very much the case that the chaos brings us down when the business is actually growing and it's performing. And you might be like, well, wait, what do you mean? If the business is going great, everything's great. Hold on. If we don't get the balance right, and if we don't actually have growth that is working personally, it's creating profit. So sometimes the imbalance is that your home life is really messed up while the business is doing well. Sometimes the imbalance is that you're growing, but you're not profitable. Sometimes it's that the business is doing well, but you're not doing well financially, personally. Yes, I've seen that. If you don't know what I mean, we'll talk a little bit about that. And sometimes it's that even though the business is performing well, it's still controlling you. You're not getting the freedom that you were after when you started your business in the first place. The first point is the chaos can get both the unsuccessful business owner as well as the successful business owner. And that is something I want to spare you of. I've seen this over and over and over. Let me just share with you a quick story. I've got a friend that I met with not too long ago, and the business is going great. And from the outside, everything seems to be going really well. Someone asks him, hey, how's your business doing? He's going to say, fantastic. And people are going to say, yeah, I saw you in this, I saw that. Everything looks good on the outside. But on the inside, he's really struggling because things are not right at home. He's been out of balance for quite some time. And he's actually got some pretty significant concerns looming with the business itself. If you looked from the outside, everybody would say, oh, that business is successful. That entrepreneur is doing amazing. In fact, many people would want to be that entrepreneur. But that's not the success we're after. The first point is that the chaos can get the best of everybody when it comes to entrepreneurship. The second point is I want to really talk about what the chaos is. Because simply put, the chaos is the frantic pace, the imbalance, and the poor systems and processes that are typical in a small business. The pace, as we know, can sometimes be crazy. And the imbalance between personal and business, the imbalance between short-term and long-term, the imbalance between profit and growth. So sometimes there's just a lot of imbalance, and that creates real challenges in business and in the personal life for entrepreneurs. And then if there were one real culprit, kind of the villain that is the chaos, it is poor systems and processes that aren't well defined, are not spelled out, laid out the way they need to be, and sometimes not put in place, and certainly not automated. And so it becomes a very manual, laborious, time-consuming endeavor to run the business. That's not what we want. We want to get out of that chaos. So again, the chaos comes from frantic pace, imbalance, and poor systems and processes. Now, if you said to me, Clate, now why'd you really write the book? I'm going to tell you this is why. Because although I certainly want entrepreneurs to have the business success that they want, the real thing for me is to see entrepreneurs succeeding in both business and life. And what I find is that when the chaos goes untreated over a prolonged period of time, not only does it spell real challenges for the business, but it causes major problems in the lives of the entrepreneur. And this looks like sustained chaos in the business when the business is actually growing and doing well, but also when the business is struggling. And I refer to the personal side of it, of prolonged chaos, as the dark side of entrepreneurship. And the dark side is the thing that really motivates me to say, hey, we got to do better when it comes to entrepreneurship. So let's talk about that dark side for a second. You know, I talk about how this comes about in the book a little bit, and I certainly lay out some of the major pitfalls associated with the dark side. These are things like depression and dependency on substance, but sometimes it gets, it goes longer and it causes major problems, resulting in, divorce, destructive behaviors in the entrepreneur's life, and sometimes even death. And I know that's kind of morbid, that's sort of the dark side is not something we talk about a lot, but we gotta acknowledge that it's there and it's real, and it's affecting people that are both failing in business as well as succeeding in business. Sometimes the successful businesses, the entrepreneurs, have an implosion around the dark side even more so than the failing businesses. So I do not want that for you, my friend. I want to make sure that you are able to avoid that. And so whether you're a 6-figure business, 7-figure business, 8-figure business, I want to make sure that you've got a great business and a great life. And that is really the point of this book and of this course, and indeed the mission of my career over the past 20 plus years. So you're in the right place. This is going to be a fantastic course, and we've started with the reason why I'm writing the book and what chaos is. We've talked about the dark side, but let's talk about the good stuff. How do we avoid all of that? Well, as you know, there are 6 keys to success for entrepreneurs. And the first 3 are personal, and keys 4, 5, and 6, those are on the business side. And these keys work together, and you're going to see how these keys can really help you to create the balance that you want. And we'll talk about it in just a second. But in case you're wondering, like you might be sitting there thinking, I don't really know if I've got that much chaos going on. Because you see, chaos is a little bit like the warm water that boils the frog. It kind of picks up, and you get to a point where you just start thinking, well, this is business. This is the way the business runs. And small business is chaos. But it doesn't need to be that way. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, then I want you to go, okay, maybe I've got some work to do here. Maybe these 6 keys can really help me out. So the first one is disorganization. As I mentioned, that's a telltale sign of this chaos. But not just disorganization generally. It's the miscommunications that happen between you and your customers and your employees, between employees. It's the feeling of frustration, where you're just feeling like, gosh, it seems like the business was doing better when I had 3 or 4 employees than now I've got 10 or 15. That's a sign. Maybe you're getting nice revenue, but you're not getting the profit or the take-home pay that you're after. That's another symptom, another sign of this chaos. If you've got things slipping through the cracks, leads, customers, tasks, that's a telltale sign of chaos. You might have some systems that you feel like you're outgrowing that aren't working well for you. And maybe you're doing a lot of repetitive tasks, or your people are saying, hey, your team members are like, look, we're spinning our wheels. We're doing a lot of manual things that we need to just streamline this. If you're feeling any of those things, or if you're feeling like, I wish I could multiply myself, I just need more of me, there aren't enough hours in the day, these are the signs and symptoms of chaos. And again, ultimately they point to a frantic pace that sometimes characterizes small business, the imbalance, and poor systems and processes. By the way, if you're having a hard time going on a date without worrying about the business, if your vacations are really work trips and they turn into that, if you are struggling to go to your kid's soccer game because you just can't get away from the business, and maybe most of all, if you just don't have peace of mind, the calm confidence that can go with running a business. If you're missing that, then my friend, let's buckle up. Let's go through this course, because we're going to help you get to a place where you are feeling freedom. In fact, I would say if there's one phrase that captures what it is to conquer the chaos. It's to go from frustration to freedom. And so if you're feeling any of the frustration around those points I just shared, you might be dealing with chaos. Okay, so what's our goal? You know, I mentioned freedom. A lot of times I'll talk about the hierarchy of success for entrepreneurs. But to even get to that, we've got to realize, well, what is it? Now, you know how passionate I am about success in business and in your life. And so it shouldn't surprise you that my definition of success, and the one that I want us to embrace for this course, is balanced growth in your business and personal life that produces freedom in the forms of money, time, control, impact, and yes, ultimately total freedom. So that's the definition. That's what we're after. And that money and time and impact and ultimately control that you want, the freedom, that's what we're going for here. That's what we'll go through as we go through these 6 keys. And what I wanted to set up for you here at the beginning is the problem that we're after, that we want to solve with chaos, the symptoms that you experience, the definition of success, and this hierarchy of success, this freedom that we're after. So yes, the money, of course we want that. And by the way, if there's any part of you that is feeling like, I don't want, like, oh no, it's not about the money for me, let me just fix that for you. Friend, we want to be making money here, right? The whole point of your business is to make money. If that's not it, then have a hobby, do something else, but we want to help you make money. And this course is designed to, yes, help you make more money, and then to have the time to be able to enjoy that. And the control to be able to get the balance right, to be able to be at home when you want to be home and present, and be in your business, working on your business when you're doing that, present to that. But having the control to say no to things that really aren't what you do best. That's one of the great things about building up a team where you can do what you do best, delegate the rest, have the control over your time. And then to be able to make a great impact on the world, on your customers, your employees, on your community. You know, entrepreneurs are some of the most generous, giving people in the world. And so I love seeing you be successful, because then you get to multiply your impact and then ultimately have that freedom that we're after. So that's what we want. That's the hierarchy of success. The definition of success is balanced growth in your business and personal life that produces this freedom. And the 6 keys will help you do that. Now, as you know, there are 3 personal keys, there are 3 business keys, and these keys work together to produce the freedom that we want. The personal keys are number 1, mindset, number 2, life vision, number 3, the rhythm of execution, and then how you go about doing those personal keys. And then on the business side, of course, we have strategy, both customer strategy and company strategy, then automation. There's nothing that will change your life quite like automation when it comes to conquering chaos. And then the last one, the last key, is leadership. And I'm looking forward to spending time with you on each of these keys. Now, I've recruited a couple members of my team to help us go through this course. Greg Jenkins, who is just a fantastic automator, he will help us with the customer strategy, which we call customer lifecycle, and then he'll also help us with automation. I've got a great friend, longtime member of our team, who now runs Elite Entrepreneurs, Brett Gilliland. He's going to help us with the company strategy and then also with leadership. So looking forward to bringing in some amazing experts as part of this. I'll be your guide as we go through this course together. I'm excited to spend the time with you. Looking forward to an amazing course and the engagement that we'll get to have together. I know that this course is going to enrich your life, which is really exciting for me, because life vision is something we'll be teaching. And in my life vision, my purpose is to love, inspire, and enrich others. And I hope that that enrichment comes through loud and clear. I love entrepreneurs. My purpose is to inspire you to be your best self, to create an amazing business that serves your life and serves your customers and enables you to have the freedom and impact you want. And I know this is going to be a ton of fun as we go through this course together. So with all of that said, let's get into the 6 keys to success so that you can conquer the chaos.